Anthony O'Neill said that every man, well, I actually haven't watched the video yet, but apparently the video says every man needs to make $100,000. I said what I said. Every man needs to make $100,000. I said what I said. Again, make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. I'm going to be reading the super chat shortly. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. My chick tried to give me some veggie straws before. I was like, man, if you don't get this shit up out my face. Let's get into the video.
That as we go back to it is that Adam was with God.
Right.
God decided to put him to sleep.
Right.
Took the rib, brought Eve to him.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Adam had provision.
Right.
Before he got a wife. So.
Wait. We're not just gonna skip past that. We're not just gonna skip past that. Hold on. God put Adam to sleep and then pulled his rib out and then being able to make a wife. What does that have to do with provision? I'm trying to listen. I'm not debating whether it's true or not at this point. What I'm asking is, what does that have to do with provision? Honestly, just being objective, how did we correlate those two with that comparison? And listen, don't y'all hate when people do like this? When somebody make a good point and they be like, or make a point that sound relevant, but then you go and replay it and you're like, damn, I don't really know if you hit on that one. They be like this. Preach, preacher. Preach, preacher. I'm trying to figure out what honestly, but maybe he's going to add more context in order to be able to get there. Neither here nor there. Shout out to Craig G. I'm reading that super chat shortly.
If he ain't got no residence and no revenue, how you gonna help him?
Oh my goodness.
He don't see you as a wife. Right. He see you as a mama.
Ooh, oh my God. That's the end of the show. God bless y'all.
No, he sees you.
All right, so this is my interpretation of the Bible. I've read it 7 times back to back, but I can't quote everything exactly. What happened in Genesis was everything was provided for and taken care of, and so there was no real work to be done in the garden outside of naming all of the fucking animals, right? And then once Eve was beguiled by the serpent, and then she bit the fruit, and then she went over there and she gave it over to fucking Adam, should have stayed her ass home instead of being out there talking to serpents in the first place, neither here nor there. Then their eyes were open, and the God called out to them, and then he found them hiding, and they had covered themselves up. Now, I'm just freestyling here. And then once God had to punish them, and he punished the man for even paying attention to what the fuck the wife was talking about in the first place. Why you subjecting yourself to what she say? Why you ain't get some control over that little hoe? So then one of the punishments, or a couple of the different punishments, was that she was going to have to suffer with pregnancy, right? And then the other punishment was they was going to have to till the ground. And they was going to have to work, and then they had to get kicked out of the garden, lest they found the other tree of life. Now, I could be off, but that's the cliff notes of really what happens. So the work within the garden or the work on the earth came after the fall. But I could be mistaken. Let's continue.
You as a mama. And you being a mama.
Oh my God.
You taking care of him.
Yes.
And the New Testament says, he that provided not for his own house is worse than an infidel. Now, I'm not saying, sis, I'm not saying.
Talk to him.
I'm not saying that you can't have your own. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Because there going to be times when that brother going to be down.
Yeah.
And you got to step up.
But that's her role, though.
That's
to
it.
help.
Help. To be that help.
Yeah.
Just to step up. I got it. Don't worry about it, baby. Don't worry about it, baby. My wife has done it. Hey, don't worry about it. I got it. I got it. Because I held it down.
But the man still needs to come back and provide.
All the way.
But ladies do not like that word provide.
I think that the reason why they...
No. You got it wrong. It's not that women don't like the word provide. It's not that women want to get all of the finessing out of you. You're wrong, Ayo. Women don't like the idea of submitting. It's not that they don't want to be provided for. They want to get all of listen, A lot of these guys, these women look at as a retirement plan. A lot of these guys, these women look at as a retirement plan. They don't mind the word provide. They don't like the word submit. It's a difference. It's a difference. They don't like the word submission. They don't like the word husband. They prefer to use the word partner. So they, when I'm looking at this right now, and again, this is my first time seeing this. I'm reacting to it in real time. I'm watching it just like you guys are. They need to switch their terms up because words mean things.
They don't like it is because they don't understand that doesn't take anything away from them.
It doesn't.
I think one of the problems that we have in a black family is that we're keeping up with the Joneses, and we actually think that just because we have two incomes, we can actually go spend more money. But there's a proven fact, you can Google it, that parents who have stay-at-home, the families who have stay-at-home moms have more money, or stay-at-home parents have more money saved than two families where both of them are working.
Absolutely.
But so why come we just can't, live off of this income and stack the other one?
Man.
It's more context to this, but I'll get there. Let me let this play a little bit more because I want to make sure that I'm looking at this in its entirety and not just based off of certain clips. But go ahead.
Listen.
Go
People
off,
get
King.
upset with me when I say that. I think that if you have two incomes, I know because I study this, right? If you have two incomes in a family, I was on a particular panel and I said this, and the ladies were kind of offended that I said this because they took it as if I was saying that their careers, that their incomes do not matter. When I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if we have two incomes, let's be wise with the income.
That's it.
What is the strategy to building a legacy and wealth? And so why do we want to have our lifestyle maxed with two incomes?
Right.
So I said, as the man, I want to build the house. I want the four walls of what I learned working with Dave Ramsey. My housing, transportation, food, and utilities. Those four things need to be covered by my income. I'm not saying that your income doesn't matter.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the foundation of what we stand on as a family needs to be based upon my income, your income. Let's use that to invest. Let's use that to maybe do vacations. But then they was like, well, why do we have to settle for a $1 million home? Or let's go down to the basic average person. Why do we got to settle for a $200,000 home if my income will allow us to get a $400,000 home? I said, because now we're maxed out to our capacity, and the black people, we are living above our means. Why not come below our means, get a beautiful home, and we already know this. I'm going to pay for the house. Well, my income is going to pay for the house, but it's our income. Who's going to choose the house? No.
Here's the problem with this, and this is why you can't take advice with regard to marriage and relationships from single men. And you also can't take advice about marriage and relationships from men that are beta or look at their wife as a partner. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me give you a completely different way of looking at this, right? From a person that's been married successfully for the past 19 years. On the outset, this seems like it's really, really good advice, right? And I see a lot of y'all saying, I agree with that. He's making sense. But let me give it to you from a different perspective. One of the reasons why it doesn't make sense is because the foundation of how y'all communicating about income is wrong across the board. Because there is no your income. Let me say this again for the people in the back. There is no your income. It all comes back to me. And so it's no reason for us to look at this as two separate ways in which we're bringing resources into the household. The resources belong to the household. It's all one pot. Ain't no yours, ain't no mine's, ain't no I'm going to go over here. Listen, women have always worked since the beginning of time. When you add the additional context of a woman then being a housewife, it's because specifically she's needing to be there, especially if you have really small children. If you have small children, then they need to be nurtured and cared for, and you don't want them in daycare and all of this other type of stuff. When a child gets old enough to where they start to go to school full time, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, are you being productive with your time, or are you sitting at home just being a drunk every day and you really just retired because you don't want to do shit? Now, my wife specifically said, listen, I'm not trying to be out there doing that. I'd rather still have a thumb and a pulse on what's going on in my daughter's life while also adding value into what it is that we're building from a business perspective. So I'm going to work specifically for you. And she's much more valuable as a result of it. But when you start to separate it in the first place, it makes it difficult to manage because I'm not your slave. I'm not here to make sure that you taken care of. I'm here to do what men do, but then I'm also built to maximize on what it is that we all have coming in. So whatever dynamic that you have, if y'all both work, she could be an anesthesiologist, you could be an engineer, ain't no yours and mine. It's one pot. And so it's difficult for y'all to understand this and start to have this conversation based off of what y'all should do with y'all income because y'all living separately, but then y'all coming together conveniently depending on what the circumstances is instead of really merging and becoming one. Ain't no yours. That shit is mine. Because I guarantee you, you are largely going to be the beneficiary of my greatness as a result of what it is that I'm doing to make sure that we taken care of. In the same way that you feel comfortable enough to be able to contribute into the household when it comes to shopping and spending and doing all of the stuff that you do all the time. If you wasn't working, is the same way that you need to be contributing and shopping if you are working, because all it is a bigger resource for us to be able to tap into and manage more effectively. But the fact of the matter is, y'all, this makes sense to y'all because y'all keep looking at each other as partners instead of looking at each other as a husband and wife. Ain't no yours. And this is why we so fucked up as a community, because y'all keep trying to negotiate based off of being outside of what the design of marriage is supposed to be meant for in the first place. This is why you can't take advice from everybody, because they may be good at getting resources or teaching you financial literacy, but it doesn't mean they can show you how to be married successfully. You know why? Because they've never done it. But let me continue. Reading Super Chat shortly.
Oh, you know what?
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you choosing, you decorating, we are paying, but we're basing, oh, that's so good. We're basing the cost of the home off of the income that my part of our relationship brings in.
Right.
And if we can just understand that, but I will say, men, we do have to learn how to say it better, so the woman understands that we value the gifts and the skills and the anointing that God has put on the inside of you.
Right. Oh,
we want
Jesus
that.
Christ.
I don't want a woman to sit at home and be lazy,
right,
and just feeding our kids.
Right.
No. I want you to bring whatever God put on the inside of you, bring it to the house.
Right.
But I want us to be strategic on how we're going to use both of our gifts and be good stewards of the income that God has given us. So recently I completed my full estate plan, and
let me move for a little bit.
It's crucial. So I am asked to protect your family here, boy. Oh, Jesus, you got me thinking, Pastor. We already over time, but we gonna ride here. Revenue. A man coming with revenue. I've said this before, and some guys don't like it when I say this, but I believe that most men, if they have a calling, if they have an anointing, and I think most men do. I'm trying to say this correctly. Let me ask you this question first. You worked hard to get your daughter into school with no debt. And there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious, as a father, how would you feel if your daughter comes home with a guy and his revenue is not enough to at least take care of the foundation of their relationship? As far as, let's say they get married, his income cannot afford to pay for the rent, for, utilities, transportation, and food. How would you?
Let me answer the question before he do, because I have not seen this, and I don't want to piggyback off of what he's saying and saying that he's wrong. Let me give you my answer on the question that he just answered him, and then we're going to compare and contrast, okay? If my daughter is talking to a guy, and let's say they young, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, I'm not expecting for that man to be already financially savvy like I am. It took me 41 years in order to get 41 years worth of knowledge, insight, and information and to be able to implement it successfully. I went broke at 26, 27, 28 years old, and I was trying to get that shit back, and I got it back with flying colors. Let me tell you how I would do it. When I'm vetting this young man, I'm vetting him based off of his ambition, his character, whether or not he's a good person, right? Whether or not he's a man's man and that he's coachable and he's teachable, and whether or not he can really stand on his own 2 feet in order to become the man that he's supposed to be as God ordained him. I'm not looking for him to be a completed, finished project for him to go over there and take care of my daughter, right? Why do you think that scripturally, traditionally, and all the way across the board, that the father or the bride's part of the family usually is the one to pay for the wedding, that we usually are the ones that then provide the structure in the household in order for them to be able to get them on their feet? As a matter of fact, I'm cool with them coming to live with me and stand with me so that he can see how it is that he can build himself up more effectively and they can be able to operate with less pressure. I want a good man. I'm not looking for him to be financially sound immediately. I'm looking for a person with good character. I'm looking for a person with great work ethic. And the question that I have to start asking as a father of a girl is, I'm trying to teach my daughter how it is that she can be a true wife. Because the question that we never ask women is, why would he marry you? What value can you continue to add to him, right? How is it that you can continue to work with him in order to ensure that he's successful? That way you can largely be the beneficiary of his greatness. I'm not worried about him. It's a very simple process for me to be able to vet him effectively. I'm not looking for the dude that already got it. I'm looking for the guy that's willing to build it so that my daughter can add value into his life and she can have a vested interest in their success. So I'm not, and this is just me. This is just me. If my daughter at 18, 19, 20, 22 years old finds a really good, solid character, God-fearing, dedicated, hardworking dude, I'm saying, hey, make sure that you take care of that guy. You show him your femininity. You not smart talking, and don't ever try to emasculate him, and don't ever try to lean into your daddy's money, because when you get with him, you need to understand that I'm going to help y'all. I'm going to provide y'all with the foundation. I'm cool with y'all living with me until y'all 30, 35, 40 years old, because we can build a compound. But the one thing you are going to do is you're going to be obedient. You're going to be dedicated. You're going to shut your motherfucking mouth, and you're going to pour into this, and you're going to have just as much vested into y'all success as he does. My goal as a father is to teach my daughter. He going to be all right, and I'm going to give them enough time for them to be able to find themselves. But she going to have to be shooting in the gym with him. Why are we not holding women accountable for shooting in the gym with the men that they expect to take half from once he becomes successful? She gonna have a vested interest, right? And so my thing is, I'm not looking for a guy to be a ready-made dude. I'm looking for a guy with great character that I can also provide for them a springboard in order to help them to be successful long-term. That's how you're supposed to groom and vet a dude. Now, I don't know what he's gonna say, but I wanted to answer the question before he did so that we can compare and contrast.
What do you feel as a father?
The first thing I would ask him is, what's his plan? Because I'm building a business right now.
Yeah.
And things don't always go right.
Yeah.
But as long as you got a plan.
Yeah.
Is it just that you're gonna stay on this career path? Is this all that you see yourself doing? Hey, but no, I'm doing this temporarily because I'm over here. This is my 9 to 5.
Love it.
But after 5, I'm working on my business.
Okay.
Or I'm going to trade school.
Okay.
Or
But what about if he's a good person? What if he got good character? Fuck all of that planning and all of this other type of stuff. That stuff can come with it. Are you vetting him to be a good person? Whether or not he's an alpha male, whether or not he can stand on his own 2 feet. What happens if anything ever happens to me? Those are the questions that I would be asking. I don't fucking care about your. I don't know. I'm different. I'm just different. Maybe this is because that's how my father taught me. That's how my brothers are. That's how my uncles were. We just move a little bit different.
I'm over here finishing up college.
Facts.
This is where I'm at now.
Right.
In other words, let me say it like this. This is my IN.
Yeah.
But it's not my END.
Yeah.
Because if that's his IN, because my wife took a chance with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Her mother gave her to me, and all I had was the potential and the work ethic.
Right.
So if there is a plan, if there's a strategy, we cool with that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But if there's no plan, if you're happy with where you are, then that's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem, first of all, because my daughter has saw a model.
That's what thank you.
It's gonna take some, and I hope it don't happen, but she's gonna be like, wait a minute.
That's not what I saw.
That's not what I saw.
Yeah.
And he gonna have to be show enough.
And a part of me, I will be honest, and again, I'm speaking from my realness because we keep it real, relevant, and relatable to take. Right. I will be somewhat offended if my daughter brought that home to me.
Definitely.
Because it's like, wait, if I showed you a model I'm not looking for a perfect man, but I at least showed you he should have the basics covered before he say I do.
Right.
You know, and that's it. But I'm with you though. I don't believe in dating potential. I do believe in dating the fruit of the potential.
Oh, definitely. But there again, though, what's the plan?
What does that mean? Dating the fruit of the potential. Don't worry about it. Let me mind it out. I'm gonna let them say the whole thing, and then we gonna go into it.
That's it.
And then what's the work ethic?
Facts.
What's the work ethic? Faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
There's no manifestation without participation.
Yeah.
You got to do your part.
Absolutely.
But this is where we're starting, but this is not where we're going to finish.
I'm with it.
And everything, but because you can have all this potential and it lie dormant.
Yeah.
But you got to begin to move and take action and everything. And then are you coachable? Who's your mentors? Who's in your life that's going to help you on this plan? Are you going to be accountable?
Bro.
You know what I mean? I think that's so important.
Yeah.
You know, I just told you that David gave his sons his presence, but he also gave them a pattern.
Yes. Yeah.
I just think it's important that for the individual who's going to be stepping in my way, for him to have a strategy.
Yeah.
So the other missing element amongst black men, African American men, is that mentorship, you know, that leadership, that accountability that's going to help him or help them actually, you know, develop that strategy and everything. And so I think that's so important in everything.
No. I agree with you, man. And that is something that I've really, really been big on within myself and within just like the guys on my team and the guys that I talk to. I'm very aggressive with men, especially black men, right? And I'm still learning in this area, right? So I'm not speaking like this is facts. But a part of me is like, man, I'm watching our sisters win. I'm watching them start businesses, go to schools, be single mothers, and really.
How is that winning? How is that winning, being a single mother? When you add the context, you understand that women are the most enrolled, but they also the most in debt. A lot of times they are the ones that suffer the most. They still behind the 8 ball. They're not necessarily being successful. You being able to generate more revenue, but also having more debt on top of it is not a part of the whole story. How are you being successful by being a single mother? Let me rewind that. Let me see what he said again.
In this area, right? So I'm not speaking like this is facts. But a part of me is like, man, I'm watching our sisters win. I'm watching them start businesses, go to schools, be single mothers, and really rising to the occasion that I think that men, we need to step up.
So I didn't miss it. I played it twice. I played the entirety of it so that I can make sure that I got the entirety of, or the entire context behind what it is that he's trying to communicate. What the fuck are we talking about, y'all? How is that winning? How is that winning? Honestly, I'm just curious. I'm just asking a question. How is this winning? Why are y'all taking dating advice from everybody? Why are y'all taking marriage advice from everybody? Why are y'all taking relationship advice from everybody? What is this? Listen. I just got a question. Before I read the super chats, before I move on, what is this obsession with men pandering over to these women instead of holding people accountable? We have no problem holding men accountable. I do it every day. I'm going to probably be doing it tonight when y'all tune into the Anton Daniels channel in order to do my live stream. What the fuck are we talking about? When did that become successful?
And so I tell all of my men that I think that if you're going to be a man, you should be striving to 6 figures a year.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? That you shouldn't settle for anything less than 6 figures.
Definitely.
And some guys just get upset with me when I say like, oh man, I mean, I'm a black man and the system is not rigged, it's not made for me. I'm like, hey, bro, I make well over 6 figures a year and I'm black too. And I think.
Now get this shit off my screen, bro. I don't want to hear this shit, bro. Honestly, bro. This is wild. If you trying to do it because you trying to keep up with a single mother, we got an issue. And we're not having a conversation just about how much you make. Now, you know that I'm a bag chaser, and so I'm always going to help my people to level up and push them to be successful. But let's be clear. I want you to do what's best for you. And more importantly, I want to teach you how to manage what it is that you have more effectively, right? But that is not, if you're using that as a comparison, I'm definitely not going to hold you accountable for that. I think that you can see, listen, the average household income, the average household is $67,000 a year, right? If you making $80,000 a year, let's say $79,000 a year, and then you jump to 90, I'm gonna have a conversation with you because you're actually gonna be making less money because you jump from a 12% tax bracket to a 22% tax bracket. That money is just gonna go to the federal government, right? It's not about making $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year after taxes as a single man only comes down to $67,000 a year. After taxes, as a single man, $100,000 a year is really reducing you down to $67,000 a year in most major cities. You can go up to 70 depending on how far out you live in the suburbs. What the fuck are we talking about, man? Anyways, if y'all want to go and you want to take advice from Anthony O'Neill on how it is that you're supposed to live in your relationship, feel free to do so. If you want to come over here and get this game in real life, I'm going to still be waiting over at Anton from AntonDaniels.com. Yes, he did. He was using it as a comparison. He said, see, when I look at these sisters, you want me to play it again? Don't worry about it. We get there.
That strategy.
Single mothers, and I'm still learning in this area, right? So I'm not speaking like this is facts. But a part of me is like, man, I'm watching our sisters win. I'm watching them start businesses, go to schools, be single mothers, and really rising to the occasion that I think that men, we need to step up.
If that's not specifically a comparison, they're rising to the occasion, they're being single mothers, and men, we need to step up. What other example of comparison do you need? Men need to step up. He prefaced it by naming what he thought was accolades for all of these women, including being a single mother and starting their businesses and being by themselves and all of this other type of shit. And so then he specifically said, men need to rise to the occasion. I don't really know how much more clear of a conversation that we need to have. What the fuck are we talking about? I just played it again for you. That's not what it is that he said. I'm just curious. Is that what he said? Is that not what he said? Okay. I just want to make sure that I heard what I heard and that y'all heard what I heard by replaying it so that we don't have any kind of misunderstanding or misalignment of exactly what it is that was communicated here. And then they clipped it up. Oh, man. What is y'all talking about, man? Come on, man. Come on, y'all. We got to do better.